You're like, I'm very creepy, but you can probably fight me off. But unfortunately, I'm both. By the way, ma'am, could you even put on a shirt to come out today? Where'd you get that? I know it's hot, but really. I mean, if I could wear a shirt and you couldn't, where'd you get that shirt? I disappointmymom.com. Hey, I'm quitting comedy tonight. Fuck y'all, I don't care.
I'm never getting invited back here again.
Yeah, I do look creepy though. And I shave my head in these political times, which is obviously a great idea. Don't, that's a little loud, sir. It's starting to be a rally. Two white guys like, yeah! But, so, I mean, I do look creepy. And I know that because I own mirrors in my house. And I look like the guy who got a job at the bowling alley just so I could sniff the shoes. You laughed a little too hard at that. I know we're telling jokes up here, but shit hurts my feelings. No, but I'm trying to get my shit together. I'm trying to be less creepy, trying to lose weight. And I signed up for the gym, and the worst part about going to the gym isn't really the exercise part. It's really just how people treat you when you go into the gym when you're a fat guy. They treat you like a cancer patient. And I walk in, they're like, oh, you're so brave. We're so happy you're here. So strong. Meanwhile, I just polished off chili fries. Yeah. But the worst part is actually not the working out, it's the signing up part. Because when I did it online, I signed up for Vasa, right? You just type your information in, right, online. I'm like, oh, I don't have to talk to anybody. Big old walrus, just slide right into the dumbbells, you know? But I go there and the chick's like, oh, you're new here. And I'm like, well, obviously. And she's like, no, I've been here for 10 years, you know? I used to own this place. But I go in. And she's like, well, we have a special treat for you. We're going to do a thing where we like build a profile with you. I'll sit, ask questions. You go to the nutritionist, and then you'll go with a personal trainer. And at this point, I'm just thinking in the back of my head, is obesity really that bad? Is anyone really like their 60s? So and this is the thing, she kept bothering me about it, and I'm like, no, and she kept saying, yeah. And this is the thing about me, I am a bastard. If you try to make me do something I don't want to do. Like, I will make it bad for me and you in the process. It's a wonder my relationships don't work out. But anyway, so we sit down, and this is how much of a bastard I am. In my head, I'm like, I'm just going to say the most awkward thing, so she'll move this interview along. So we sit down, and she goes, all right, well, tell me a little bit about your fitness history. I'm like, all right. When I was 7 years old, I attempted to do 10 sit-ups. I then dislocated all of my ribs. I vomited on my Power Rangers pajamas. 20 years has gone by, and now I'm with you. And she's like, well, I mean, what's like your biggest fitness goal? And I was like, well, if I'm being honest, I just really want to see my penis again. Again, you laughed really hard at that. I don't like that I'm standing like this too. I'd really like to see it, and I'd like you to see it. But anyway, so yeah, then she's like, all right, well, what kind of workouts do you do? And I'm like, none. And she's like, well, do you like burn calories? Because sleeping burns calories, like going up the stairs, moving boxes. And I was like, oh, for sure. You know when you sneeze really hard and then you shit your pants in the sneeze? I do that 2 to 3 times a month. And it's probably like easily 200 calories each time. So honestly, I mean, I'm ready for CrossFit at that point. And so she's so done with me, she moves me on to the nutritionist. And I go in and it's this John Cena looking motherfucker. And we sit down. And he's like, all right, buddy, like, what's your diet? And what am I going to say? Like, oh, just 1,200 calories a day, mostly kale, water, laxatives. I bike to work every fucking day. Like, no. I'm just a raccoon. I'm just chubby. I eat garbage, and I'm really mean to most people. So don't come out back to me after the show. So then he's like, hey, have you ever heard of keto? I'm like, keto? What's that? And he's like, well, on keto diet, you can eat steak and bacon and cheese and avocado. I'm like, listen, man, I'm gonna stop you right there. If you keep talking like that, I'm gonna take my pants off. And he's like, no, this is how it works. He's like, you eat fat to burn fat. And I was like, do you work for McDonald's? Like, what kind of fucking logic is that? And he's like, no, that's how it works. And I'm like, listen, pal, that's the dumbest thing I've ever heard in my life. Like, I should be the nutritionist. Like, people just come in and they're like, I really wanted a tight six-pack. I'm like, well, have you tried blue cheese crumbles and pastrami? Tear up that fucking degree and let me behind the desk, sir. And the worst person was then they put me with the personal trainer. And she looked like Brock Lesnar's sister. Like she was twice the man I'll ever be. And so I get with her and she's like, so what kind of workouts do you like to do? And I'm like, well, obviously none. And she's like, well, no, but like, what would you do idealistically? And I'm like, well, the workouts I would like to do, I'd like to take a tumbler full of margarita. I'd like to sit in the hot tub in bed and watch the Zumba class. Like, we definitely can't do that. I'm like, all right. And she's like, well, you ever heard of burpees? And I'm like, oh, of course I've heard of burpees. Like, I get those every time I drink too much chocolate milk. And she's like, no, what a burpee is you jump back and like do a push-up, kick your leg back. Obviously, I might do it for you. I tweak my back. That's the reason, of course. And then she's like, then you get in a bullfrog stance and you do, and she's like, you want to try that? And I'm like, maybe. Let me tell you something. I haven't left the earth in 7 years. You really think I'm just going to, time to dunk the basketball? I mean, I'm part Danish and part Jewish. I should be making candles and reading the Bible. That's all my people are doing. Did I say Bible? I think I meant Torah. It's okay. Oh, man. But, yeah, my favorite part of working out, oh, what do I care? My favorite part of working out is getting that, like, crow's nest. You guys know what I'm talking about? That little treadmill, that little bike. You can kind of just, like, sit in the back. And I time it to when the women's Zumba class. And they do all the cool-down cardio. And they come out and they file out in front of, like, 3 rows. It's the greatest thing ever. And I just sit back there like a perverted Bernie Sanders, like, feel good. Let's get the sweat going. Your workout is the 1% of the 1%. And that's the old gym bit. Oh, fuck you, Molly. I'm not a joke.
Fill the corn
You can't just yell
maze!
out jokes like, why don't you get some Jim Gaffigan, Waylon? Big Bernie Sanders, but I So, for all of you that don't know, Molly told me she was going to yell out an embarrassing story blind for me to tell. And I don't know, you guys don't want to hear that, right? No! Like, the most embarrassing one. You guys don't want to hear that.
This is an embarrassing story.
I'm going to tell it. So, I was 15 years old. I like how I started that, like a Charles Dickens. I was 15 years old. The summer squash had come. No. So I grew up in Layton, just up the road. Layton, Utah. Yeah. All right. Fuck you, Kingsville. See me outside, bitch. Eyeliner like that, I like my chances. I dressed up like a Trump supporter, and you dressed up not like a Trump supporter. So anyway, and I was once religious. I know you can tell I'm a comedian and a man of God, obviously. But so I had to go with this church group to a corn maze. I didn't want to go. Hold on, you're gonna go. It's fine. And I had the worst headache of my life. And so I go, and I start going, and it's totally fine. And it's whatever. But my buddy is hiding around the corner, waiting to scare me, because it's like a scary corn maze. But I have no idea. So I walk around the corner, and me and his heads go, like just clack, and we're both like semi-concussed. And the problem is he thinks I headbutted him like a triceratops, and I think he headbutted me like a rhino, right? Like, I'm a big guy, he didn't go down. And so I was like, what the fuck, dude, you know? And before I can do anything, he punches me in the chest. So my natural reaction, I hit him in the back. So mine hits a little higher on his big, fat, stupid nose. And so, right as I hit him, I hear, You know, his nose just and he drops. You guys know, like a puppet, if you cut the strings. So he goes fucking down. But guess what? As I do that, and he's laying on the ground with his big stupid bird beak nose, all of a sudden, like 8 families come around. And this is a family corn maze, you know, Mormon people are like, oh, look at the corn. You know, they're just like, oh. And I'll never forget, this little girl looks at me and goes like, oh my God, he punched him. And like it starts a chain reaction. Like, you know when they light the flames and move on? It's like that was the whole fucking place. And so people are like, there's someone in the corn maze! You know? And so my lizard brain takes over, right? And instead of like calmly just being like, hey guys, listen, it's the reason I punched this guy, like a wounded wildebeest, I ran into the corn. And when I say ran into the corn, I don't mean that I like went down the trail back to find my scoutmaster. I ran into the corn. Like I had an arrow in me and I needed to get to my burrow, right? So I just right in the corn. And so, and I hide, right? I get pretty far out. And I can see the lights, and like, I'm kind of looking, I'm like, oh, this will die down. But then people start running out of the corn maze. And so I'm like, there's somebody punching somebody in the corn maze! And so I'm like, this is about to be really bad. And so I stay out there for a little while. I'm like, all right, I'll just wait it out.